Hello guys, welcome back. It's your Sir Kevin again. Today we're going to continue our discussion with non-current asset held for sale. But this time we'll do problems. Diretso na tayo para save time. So we have our first problem here. And of course, just like how we used to do all our problems, we'll go with requirements first. Ito po ang hinihingi sa atin. Being asked is impairment loss in 2020. So what amount of impairment loss was recognized in 2020? For the majority of non-current asset held for sale problems, palagi pong tinatanong ang impairment loss, and expect that about 80 to 90% of the problems will do so. Kasi po ang non-current asset held for sale, it's a short-term na asset lang, and it's only a product of kasi meron tayong PPE na hindi na ginagamit and it's being reclassified. In that reclassification process, nagkakaroon po ng impairment loss. So again, most of the time the impairment loss is a result of reclassification, or it could be a subsequent measurement. So from reclassification or subsequent measurement, dun po manggagaling impairment loss natin. And also we're being asked to prepare the journal entries for the foregoing events. So let's read the information. March 31, 2020, due to management decision, a piece of equipment was reclassified as held for sale under IFRS 5. The equipment was acquired on January 1, 2018. It had an original cost of 5 million. Okay, 5 million original cost, tapos 5-year useful life. On the same date, the equipment had a fair value less cost to sell of 2,600,000. Okay, balik tayo sa initial measurement ng non-current asset held for sale. An item of non-current asset held for sale shall be measured at the carrying amount of the asset using its old standard or the fair value less cost to sell, whichever is lower. So right now, we're going to compare ano ang carrying amount ng asset versus ano ang fair value less cost to sell niya. Ito na po ang fair value less cost to sell. Binigay na sa atin. So we're just going to highlight it right now. We compare 2,600,000 with the carrying amount of this equipment. And since it's a PPE item, we're going to find out kung ano ang depreciated amount niya kasi itong 5 million na to, that is the original cost. So here's your solution. So for requirement 1, impairment loss, your computation goes this way. Step 1, compute carrying amount, and it is cost of 5 million, accumulated depreciation for 2 years. Kasi po, 2018 to, di ba? And it's already 2020 right now. January 2018 to January 2020, that's 2 years ago. So, depreciation 2 years. Meron tayong 3 million, pero that is as of January 1. Take note, ang problem po natin, ang reclassification nangyari March 31. So, this is not yet the complete depreciation expense. Yung depreciation expense should also consider the 3 months from January to March 31. So we will still compute annual depreciation times 3 over 12, depreciation in 2020. That is a total of 250,000. And that brings us to a carrying amount of 2,750,000 on March 31, 2020. Now, i-compare natin yan. Which is lower, carrying amount or fair value less cost to sell? Of course, it's evident that 2,600,000 is lower than 2,750,000, which is why our asset held for sale will be carried at 2,600,000. Pero ganito ngayon ang mangyayari. Ang records natin, it shows an amount of 2,750,000. For PPE 2,750,000. Pero yung asset natin, it should only be valued at 2,600, which is why kailangan i-write down natin from 2,750, dapat maging 2,600 lang siya. It would result to impairment loss of 150. And that is your impairment loss answer. Ito po. Your entries to record everything. That is your requirement number 2. Ano daw yung mga entries na kailangan natin i-prepare for this? First, of course, you will have to update the carrying amount of the asset on March 31, 2020. Depreciation for 2020, yan po, debit lang, standard for PPE. Depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation. Yon. Also, to record reclassification of the equipment to held for sale, you will have to credit the equipment in its original cost. You have to debit the accumulated depreciation, debit the initial measurement of equipment held for sale, and then of course, to record the impairment loss that we have computed earlier. Yan po. Pero one thing that I did not mention earlier, it is actually with your problem here. On July 31, 2020, the equipment has been sold for 2,300,000. So we'll have to record the entry of the sale. And here it is. July 31, 2020, sold for 2,300,000, right? So debit cash, 2,300,000. Equipment held for sale is booked at 2,600,000 because of this reclassification. So ang gagawin mo lang dyan, you will have to credit it. Compare proceeds versus carrying amount. Mas maliit yung proceeds mo kaysa sa carrying amount natin. It will result to a loss on sale of, actually, equipment held for sale to. Sorry. Equipment held for sale. Yan. Okay, so those are your entries for our first problem. This problem is about discontinued operations. In this problem, we are being asked the gain or loss from discontinued operation. Okay, sige. If you have a discontinued operation, which is a group of assets or and liabilities, or a branch or a segment that you are disposing, yung branch na yan na for disposal, if it is still operating, all the proceeds, all the profit that you can get from that should not be included with those branches na i-continue pa natin. Isi-separate natin yan. So, ulitin ko lang, kapag i-discontinue mo na ang isang branch, ang profit na makukuha natin sa kanya should be separated from those of continuing operations. Discontinued operation, separate from continuing operations. And they will be presented in your income statement as one item lang, which is gain or loss from discontinued operation. So let's get to this problem. In 2020, Nilfgaard Leathers runs two separate cash-generating units, the boots segment and the wallet segment. On October 31, 2020, Nilfgaard agreed and signed a contract to sell wallet segment. Okay, so wallet segment is being sold. And there is already a signed contract. The sale is going to happen January 31, 2020. So wala nang atrasan to. Wallet segment, itong mga amount natin for wallet segment will eventually be sold. The assets and liabilities will be transferred and any revenues and expenses from the wallet segment should not be included from continuing operation. Instead, they should be computed and presented as discontinued operation. So here goes. Wallet segment, discontinued operation ka na, compute natin si gain or loss from that. Sales, 4,500,000 minus cost of sales, minus expenses, minus income tax. The resulting amount will be your discontinued operations. As follows. So yung answer po natin for the first requirement is simply 550,000. Income from discontinued operation. So it's still a positive, may profit pa rin. For any reason, we are letting go of the wallet segment. I can't really justify kung bakit. Pero we still have a profit from the wallet segment. However, the profit should be labeled as income from discontinued operations. Okay? Our next requirement, prepare the income statement. So, eto po. The only idea why we are being required to prepare the income statement here is so that alam natin ano ang presentation ng discontinued operation. And here it is. The income statement for Nilfgaard Leathers should go this way. Sales 9 million, cost of sales 4 million, gross income 5 million. Expenses 2 million, meron tayong income before tax na 3 million. And then income tax 500,000, income from continuing operation is 2,500,000. Okay. Familiar to? Are those figures familiar? You guessed right. Those are figures from the boots section only. Note mo lang na ang pwede lang ma-include na figure in these amounts are those from continuing operation. Kasi po pag discontinued operation na, hindi na pwede isama sa regular sales. According to IFRS 5, discontinued operation should be separated from these figures. Rather, it should be presented as a net amount in your income statement as a separate item from your continuing operation. This is for the reason na hindi natin dapat i-mislead yung readers of the financial statements. Kasi if they would be reading the financial statement, they will expect that by next year, itong mga figures na to, our financial statement will somewhat be comparable to that. We cannot add the sales of discontinued operation to continuing operation. That's the point of discontinued operation. Kasi if we would do that, we would make the readers of the financial statement be misled na ang sale natin can be comparable to 13,500,000, which is their total. This figure will be misleading to readers of the financial statement kasi alam natin na next year, the wallet segment will no longer operate. So possible next year wala nang 4-5. Possible boots segment na lang ang magkakaroon ng sale. So that ends my discussion about non-current asset held for sale and discontinued operation. Thank you and have a great day.